What have you been up to? What have you been doing? Why aren't you getting anything done on the car? Well, I've been doing a whole lot of nothing and a whole lot of everything. She's got fuel, I think, now. Yep. That was reverse. Don't want to go that direction. Oh, since I covered up the glass on the outside, you can see so well in here. That's a fence. I think we'll stop. What was that noise? Well, we're done playing around with boats and goats, or wait a minute, there were no goats involved. There was boats and lawn tractors and, you know, just other things that I do to distract myself from things that I'm not sure what I'm going to do when I get to them. Anyway, fenders are going back on. And I've got to cut a little bit of metal out of here for some clearance because there's multiple angles running in there. And then we get to cut the front section right here off, which should be a lot of fun. But yeah, since I worked on this car, I've cleaned up my boat, got it ready for the summer. Where's the hole? I've put a top on a big boat, a T-top, aluminum T-top. And I've sat around a lot and watched a lot of YouTube videos of other people doing work. Eventually, I'll scribe a line along here for an alignment when I get everything figured out exact. I made these little guys right here so I don't have to get a wrench in behind there. They work all right. These fenders were rolled when I cut them off the other car, but for this car with these bigger diameter tires, there's not going to be enough clearance right back in here for this tire to clear. And this metal is about 3 layers thick. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but because that metal's so thick, when they rolled it, this kind of pulls in a little bit. So I'm going to have to get rid of some of this metal in the back right here. Fenders off, fenders on. Well, it's been the story of this car. I mean, one part on, one part off, part on. Change it a little bit, make it fit, take it back off, put it back on, finally get it in place. We're getting closer though. Well, I kind of put a little mark on it where I think I need to be to get enough clearance. You can see in the camera, I believe you can see it, how that rolls in right there. When they rolled the fender, they weren't able to roll this because it's just too thick to do any rolling with. Some of that metal's going to have to be cut out of there. I think this whole end is going to have to disappear off of here, and probably a little bit of this right through here, and then the rest of it will be able to roll and shape like I need it to shape. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. I figured everything else out so far. Well, I did all the cutting. I did press record on the camera, but when I moved the camera, I bumped it just a little bit and it said corrupted data. So grinding noises, cut, and then this fell out. Now what I'm going to try to do is get this laid somewhere at the edge of this table so I can bend this part of it down a little bit without flattening it out completely. And then we'll see what else we can trim off of here. What's the worst thing that can happen? Mess it all up and have to start over? Yes, exactly. I probably could block it up a little solider than just pushing stuff around back there, but I just want to see if this is going to work at all. It's moving a little bit in the right direction. So what I've got is this curves up a little bit, and in order for this to come down, this metal has to stretch all the way through here. So rather than try to stretch and beat that into shape, I'm just going to let it kind of expand and then fill this gap back in. Let's see how that works. It's working. It's looking more like it should, as long as I don't squeeze it too hard with the pliers and just roll it. It's fighting me a little bit. I think it's going to work though. Oh. Might have. Maybe I should have relieved it a little further because it's got a little kink right there. I'll keep working with it. It's going to work. I swear it is. All right. Well, I don't think it's coming out too bad for somebody who has no idea what they're really doing. It's getting the right shape to it. I think it just might work. Test fit it and put a little piece of metal in there and weld that in there once I'm sure that it's right. And yeah, just might work. Well, I've lowered the coilovers about 1.5 inches, and now we have a little bit of clearance and everything's not done yet. So I think this might work. Looking good. Well, we'll pull this off here, cut it up, get it looking like the other side. Well, that's the idea of what it's supposed to look like. And finally, I'm actually cutting sheet metal to get the shapes right. Got a lot more work to do, but the general shape is there. I cleaned all the paint off of this so that I don't have to worry about messing with cleaning the paint off after I cut everything. But I've already done this on the other side. Scribed a line along my template. What I'm going to do now is measure over. I think it's 5/8 of an inch. I got to check that measurement again and make a line that I'm actually going to cut on, and then I'll fold that line over to get my bend that I'll later put a piece of wire in. Turns out that dimension was 1/2 inch, not 5/8 of an inch. Line this up on the mark. Get it held down with plenty of magnets so it doesn't move. And this will be my cut line. Now to smooth off all these edges and cut that little cut right there with a saber saw. Now all I've got to do here is just cut along that little tiny scribe line with this saber saw, because it's the only thing I've got that can make that tight of a corner in this position. So the next step is to take this little tool right here and bend a little bit of a flange in this thing to get it started to roll over. What I'm going to do is put a wire inside of this fold so that it stiffens this metal up a little bit along the front edge and doesn't just end up just being one single sheet of metal and being real easy to lean on and bend. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I've got some ideas, but we'll see what happens. Just bend it a little bit at a time, all the way up to the top of this thing, and then come back down and do it again until I get it to just about a 90. And we're getting closer to 90 degrees. Well, it's getting there. That's the general idea of it. Finish rolling this in. Got about the right angles going here. Need some more trimming and stuff there, but it's getting there. Getting there. And that's where progress is at so far, basically. Next time, in the next video, I'll show you some of the tools I made to roll over these edges and put a wire inside the edge to make them a little stiffer. Actually, the first one is most of the way done, and it's looking a lot better than I expected it to for my first try. Now that it's taken shape and I'm getting a little bit more motivated towards this part of the project, I might get a little bit more done, and I might have another video in another week or so. Until then, like, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching.